Good day, everyone. Greetings of peaceful, prosperous, and of course, healthy day to all of you. I'd like to congratulate the UST Alumni Association and this powerful committee behind the academe, alumni, and industry government collaboration project, which brings together the four major pillars of the educational system to transform it towards a better normal, not just the new normal.
There are three things that we can do together, not just in the summit, in the classroom, but also in the offices that we're in. The first one really is about falling in love with the subjects that we're passionate about, because falling in love in those subjects allows us to contribute and be complementing one another. The second thing that we can do is really about communicating, engaging, and actively participating in the discourse. And maybe last point really is, it is important that leadership skills of empathy, listening, finding your own purpose, communicating, and collaboration continue to be an important and fundamental part of the education system that we have, but also a very important part of the society that we continue to live in.
If Education 4.0 is how we should help transition our students to Industry 4.0, then it must also be a purposeful transformation to the learning experience by emphasizing to students, faculty members, and school administrators to take on challenges head-on. This summit, which we started in 2019, is an important down payment for that transition. And we thank the UST Alumni Association and its partners for underwriting that down payment. And we all have roles to play. We'll be paid by experimenting together, sharing knowledge, welcoming new partners, and by harnessing the actions of the academe, alumni, industries, and governments.
As our nation progresses in this battle against the pandemic, extraordinary collaborations between all stakeholders need to be instituted. Through partnerships and collaborations, stakeholders from all sectors of the society unite towards the improvement of education, with our learners at the core of our collective societal transformation. Our universities and colleges will continue to serve their mandates to advance knowledge through teaching and research, and will continue to democratize technical expertise to their respective immediate communities. While our higher education institutions uphold these mandates, the Commission also secures its directive of coordinated partnerships with all the sectors of our society.
May I encourage my fellow alumni in the UST and all our colleagues from the academe to advocate and look into pursuing and offering TVET qualifications in your institutions, especially in your engineering programs and architecture. We need the practical side of TVET in order to produce well-rounded engineering professionals. We have to reskill and upskill existing workers and new entrants to the world of work for them to be able to bounce back. This is also our contribution to the MSMEs and of course to the National Employment Strategy, revitalization of employment. As the world of work is drastically changing, shifting to remote or hybrid forms of work, so thus TVET need to be transformed as well. TVET delivery should focus on industry and academic partnership and collaboration.
Our educational institutions should fill two other roles. One is research and development of new technologies, products, and services. This is woefully lacking in our Philippine educational institutions today. The second is to be a stimulus for the growth and development of the communities around it. It is imperative that we restructure our education system immediately. We cannot stand still. We must redouble our efforts to shorten the gap or even overtake the other countries.
So let me just emphasize that investments in new technologies, digitalization, and innovation are investments on resilience, sustainability, competitiveness, and long-term business growth, which are all necessary as we enter our economic recovery. Together, let us help create a strong manufacturing industry. And by manufacturing, I also include industry and services that will build back better a more competitive and innovative Philippines, as envisioned by our President Rodrigo Roa Duterte.
We have to practice multi-stakeholder collaboration to enable the digital readiness of our learners. This is what we have learned in practicing sustainability. The problems that we have are so big that we cannot do it alone. And so what we need to do is to partner and collaborate with other institutions, even corporates, that have the knowledge and that have the resources to help. And with this partnership, we will be able to address some, if not all of the problems that are facing us in the sector.
We really experience the hardships of the education sector, especially the administrators' survival. We are partner of the government in nation building, and we hope that the government will continue to assist us, especially in facilitating our students to continue their studies amidst the pandemic. And also we need cooperation between parents, students, and other stakeholders in the academy.
First, I think education must move with the digital world. No doubt about it. Now, let's take this opportunity in this pandemic to revolutionize education to EdTech. And I think educators in schools like the UST should be the prime mover here. Now, remember, technology is an enemy. It's not intended actually to replace teachers, but really to enhance learning. So the role of technology is to enhance rather than replace human teachers' capabilities and human interaction.
If there is one thing that this pandemic had taught us, and you know what is that? It has made us realize that there are many pathways towards learning. And personally, I'm always an advocate of moving away of too much structure and too much formality in teaching and learning. Because if we give so much focus on that, much of the time what we are doing is just a compliance and not a real joy of teaching and learning.
So we need to think together in order to shape the future that we want. And we want to achieve education that heals, repairs, repurposes, and renews. So these are the things that we look at having that ecosystem that really works to transform the kind of education that we need.
Because the only way that we are going to solve these problems is with empowered global publics around the world. And the only way those publics can be empowered is if we have highly functioning educational systems that give people the tools, not just to learn, which is critically important, but to learn, to engage, to be citizens of their countries, to be informed citizens of the world.
Toward this end, we manifest our collective appreciation to the organizers of this webinar series in forging strategic pathways for our academe, alumni, industry, and government to come together for a common good, a desire to create transformative and transforming educators in our midst. Especially, we manifest the following belief statements to the ideals as expressed in AAIG's manifestation of solidarity from the various education stakeholders.
Yung amin pong isinusulong na magpatuloy pong mangarap ang ating mga anak, kolehiyo man o sa high school o elementarya, ay pwede pa rin pong mangyari dahil ang kanila pong pangarap ay pwedeng mangyari dahil sa pagpapatuloy po ng ating edukasyon sa gitna ng pandemya ito. Mabuhay po kayo, mabuhay po ang University of Santo Tomas Alumni Association, mabuhay po ang kabataang Filipino. Salamat po.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am Maniling Kakanindin and I will be your guide for today's event. Welcome to the Academe, Alumni, Industry and Government or AAIG 2022 Caravan Series for Region 1 and CAR via Zoom and via the Facebook page of UST AAI and UST GSCCPED, hosted by Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, today, August 5, 2022. I am glad to welcome our guest speakers, Dr. Danilo B. Bosse, the OIC Director 4 of CHED Region 1, Dr. Vincent Aljon Cifra, the Regional Director of TESDA Region 1, Dr. Maria Lucrecia R. Mir, DMSU Alumni and Director 3 of Taxes Branch, Tax Study and Research Office of the Senate of the Philippines, Director Merly D. Membrere, the Provincial Director of DTI La Union, and Dr. Menchi L. de Guzman, the former Mayor of Bawang La Union and a practicing physician. May I also acknowledge our distinguished guests, Dean Henry Estenedero, Chairman of the Board of AAIG Main Convenor and UST Alumni Association Incorporated, Dr. Evelyn A. Songko, President of UST Alumni Association Incorporated, Associate Professor Jocelyn F. Agkawili, the Organizing Chair of the AAIG 2022 Caravan Series and Director of the UST Graduate School Center for Continuing Professional Education and Development, Professor Inocencia Ida S. Chionco, Vice President and Chair of the UST AAI Academics Committee, UST Alumni Association Incorporated, Dr. Fe A. Hidalgo, former Undersecretary and OIC Secretary of the Department of Education, Dr. Marilyn L. Cano, Co-Chair of the UST AAI Academics Committee, Attorney Dwight M. Ramos, President of the Tomasinong La Union Alumni Association, Professor Nanette O. Fernandez, the Chair of the UST AAI Secretariat, Dr. Jaime I. Manuel Jr., President of Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, Dr. Joanne C. Rivera, the Chancellor of DMSU South La Union Campus, Dr. Jesus Rafael Harata, Director of DMSU Internationalization, Linkages, and ITIA, Dr. Christy G. Guerra, Head of DMSU Open University System, and Professor Claudia Denise P. Barbadillo, Head of the Extension Office of DMSU Open University System. I also would like to thank our sponsors for this caravan. Our main sponsor is Rex Education, together with Rose Bowl Steakhouse and Restaurant at 595 MacArthur Highway, Pagdalanan Sur, Bawang, La Union, Arcus Balay Home, Decor and Gifts, situated at Shop 20 CKC Arcade Building, Quezon Avenue, Sevilla, San Fernando City, La Union, and Tomasinong La Union Alumni Association Incorporated. May the Almighty give us guidance as we begin this auspicious event with a prayer brought to us by Rex Education, to be followed by the Philippine National Anthem.
In respectful presence of our brothers and sisters across boundaries and faiths, let us all join in prayer and worship and gratitude and for guidance. Almighty and eternal God, we thank you for the gift of life and all its joy. We thank you for today, for all its challenges, in all its splendor. We thank you for the gift of one another. O God of infinite mercy and wisdom, only in unity, with your will, can all our toils have true meaning. Transform us into willing and able stewards of this world and its future. Bring us together to work with understanding and compassion. As we toil and grow weary, we pray for renewed strength and resolve. As we experience pain and sorrow, let us be reminded of untold good beyond. As we see pain and suffering, let us be instruments of your peace and extensions of your loving and healing hands. As we gather here today, bless us all that our collective knowledge be tempered and guided by your wisdom. Grant us clarity of vision to see the common good amidst all distractions. Endow us with humility and purity of heart to transcend all differences and reservations. When we leave this gathering, let us be the change we seek. As we endeavor to practice what we learn, let us be the good we want to see in others. As we work for our learners and their future, let it be that your will be done. In solemn silence, let us conclude with our own personal prayer.
Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's event. The participant's microphone is turned off throughout the duration of this webinar. Kindly accomplish the attendance sheet at the link provided in the chat box. The certificate of attendance will be given after accomplishing the end of webinar evaluation form. The link will be provided later before the end of the webinar. No accomplished evaluation form, no certificate of attendance. You will have the opportunity to submit your questions to today's presenters by typing your name and questions in the Q&A chat box. You may specify the name of the speaker to whom the question is addressed to. Otherwise, the question will be treated or addressed to all. You may send in your questions anytime during the presentations. We'll collect these and address them all during the open forum. If you're experiencing any technical issue or difficulty, you may notify the Secretariat by typing in the chat box. For any general question not related to the current webinar, the Secretariat will get in touch with you via your email address. Just please make sure that your name appears in the chat box. Kindly stay until the very end of the open forum for announcements. You can also view the webinar in live streaming in the following Facebook pages: UST AAI and CCPED. The links will be provided in the chat box. To formally welcome you all, let us give our attention to the ever-supportive President of Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, Dr. Jaime I. Manuel Jr.
I am very much happy to be with you today and to welcome you to the Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University here in the northern province of the Philippines. Today's undertaking, the AAIG Alumni, Industry and Government 2022 Caravan Series, is a reminder to always strive for excellence. Companies want to work with the best, and so universities such as the Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University must take care always to feed and extend quality instruction, research and extension services to stakeholders in order that more job-creating partnerships can be formed. The rise of a global knowledge economy has intensified the need for strategic partnerships that go beyond the traditional university to university collaborations. World-class universities are now at the forefront of pioneering university industry partnerships. They are designed to run longer, invest more, look farther ahead, and hone the competitiveness of companies, universities, and regions. DMMMSU and the University of Santo Tomas Alumni Association Incorporated are with the mission to transform the role of universities for the 21st century, anchoring these institutions as vital centers of competence to help tackle social challenges and drive economic growth. Today's event is about expanding access to opportunities that can connect our love of learning, research, and service to DMMMSU's vision to become a premier and globally competitive university. Thank you for your trust in our university. We shall remain grateful. May this partnership and collaboration bring us to greater heights in the future. Magandang araw at mabuhay po tayo lahat.
Thank you, Mr. President. I hope my video can open. Sorry for the technical difficulty. I think I've been stopped. Okay. There. To give us a glimpse and to further enlighten us with the what and why of AAIG, we shall now hear important messages or an important message from Professor Inocencia Ida Chonco, the Vice President of the UST AAI.
This is a day the Lord has made for all of us. A pleasant good morning to all the school administrators, faculty, and attendees from other schools and institutions in this region, and maybe also other regions as well. Good morning to all our AAIG champions, advocates, and partners present here today. It has been 11 months since the huge success of the second AAIG 2021 webinar series entitled National Multisectoral Summit for Educational Transformation, and academe, alumni, industry, government collaboration that was held from September to October 2021. This was conducted by the UST Alumni Association Incorporated in partnership with the UST Graduate School Center for Continuing Professional Education and Development. The first AAIG Caravan was hosted last July 12 by the University of Santo Tomas, Office of the Vice Rector for Academic Affairs, and we are very happy to have with us this morning Professor Peralta, who is the Vice Rector for Academic Affairs of the university. Now here we are gathered in this northern region of the Philippines in our growing commitment to journey together towards the emergence of an AAIG community of champions, advocates, and partners for transformative education from Industry 4.0 towards a human-centric Industry 5.0. In this light, I wish to welcome you all as we embark on the second caravan of our 2022 AAIG Caravan Series for Region 1 and the Cordillera Administrative Region, and hosted and led by
Ida, I'm so sorry. I think you have been muted.
Okay.
There you go.
I don't have my video. Yeah. In this slide, I wish to welcome you all as you embark in this second caravan of our AAIG series for Region 1 and the Cordillera Administrative Region, and hosted and led by our local convener, the Don Mariano Marcos State University La Union. Cognizant of the multiple challenges that thousands of our fresh graduates experience in search for a rewarding and meaningful employment and career in the world of work, the idea of AAIG collaboration for educational transformation was born in 2019. To better appreciate this AAIG endeavor, let us get to know more about it. AAIG stands for Academe, Alumni, Industry, and Government coming together to forge strategic alliances to establish a common, innovative, and collaborative approach that is sustainable and inclusive to bridge and lessen the gaps in the transition from the academe to the industry of fresh alumni, thus promoting a smooth school-to-work transition by implementing a work-based learning continuum. A sterling quality feature of AAIG collaboration is to harness the roles of the so-called alumni power. Power stands for partnership, organizations, will, expertise, resources. Indeed, let us not set aside alumni power, but recognize the formidable role it can play, since the alumni of our academic institutions are the same human resources that now power and will power our industries. It is hoped that as we forge strategic alliances for alumni-centric initiatives, we can nurture new ways of thinking, communicating, doing, and being in the midst of global challenges, especially as we transition in life beyond COVID-19 pandemic. AAIG is advancing sustainability in a responsible manner by allowing the public and private sectors to proverbially shake hands and pledge together for the common good. And so I wish to welcome you again, our champions, advocates, and partners to our webinar. A pleasant day to all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Chongko, for an in-depth sharing of the whats and the whys of AAIG. We also welcome Mr. Don Timothy Buhain, the CEO of Rex Education, our main sponsor for this Caravan Series, for his message.
Quality education is often viewed as a stepping stone to employment. Yet year after year, graduating students face the daunting task of adapting to an ever-changing landscape of career and recruitment. While the trial by fire may initially seem formidable, it's not meant to be dismaying because it is not meant to be undertaken alone. This can be witnessed in how alumni, academics, industries, and governments work tirelessly to cultivate spaces where each graduate has the opportunity to thrive. It is truly an honor to be able to say that Rex is part of this collective. For our 7 decades, Rex has been steadfast in its commitment to advancing lifelong learning for every Filipino. Our humble beginnings can be traced back to selling and publishing books for basic and tertiary level, law and professionals, establishing Rex as a pioneer in the educational publishing industry. Developing books and other learning materials continue to be part of our core solution. Now, in response to the changing needs of our learners, we support education in all forms and provide 21st century learning solutions. Educators, learners, and parents alike can trust Rex to develop assessment tools, digital learning solutions, and experiential solutions reflective of the current times. A big part of crafting these solutions entail constant communication and collaboration. Ensuring quality education for all demands a whole of society approach, which is why I am a firm believer in the importance of events such as these. To have AAIG sparking conversation on the state of our system is non-negotiable in helping us achieve our mission. Inspire every individual to advance oneself, uplift others, and sustain the environment to a better world. As fresh graduates and young alumni endeavor to practice their professions and vocation, we, members of the AAIG, exist at the forefront of building transformative educative communities for them. In many ways, it is our moral obligation to ensure that students are able to transition seamlessly to the world of work. Despite the disorder and disturbances that at times plague the field, Rex is devoted to working jointly with fellow champions of education. The AAIG Caravan is a step in that direction. To all our educators, school leaders, and partner educampions who are here with us today, thank you for championing education and advancing the industry for the learners of today and tomorrow. Welcome to the AAIG 2022 Caravan Series. It is my hope that this partnership is an unceasing one and that we can continuously come together to discuss what more we can do for the learners who are transitioning to this crucial stage of our lives. As we always say at Rex, para sa bata, para sa mamamayan, para sa bayan. Thank you.
We greatly appreciate the generosity of Rex Education. Thank you, Sir Don. May I now introduce to you our first speaker for the perspective sharings in the Clarion Call. He is the OIC Director 4 of CHED Region 1, the OIC in the Office of the President of the North Philippine State College, Candon City, Ilocos Sur, and the Chief Education Program Specialist of CHED Region 1. He was the chairman of the Cordillera Region Health Research and Development Consortium. Some of his previous positions were Chairman of Education and Manpower Subcommittee of Regional Development, Council Cordillera Administrative Region, Chairman of the Academics Committee of the Board of Regents and Trustees in different state universities and colleges in Cordillera. Let us give a warm welcome to our first speaker, Dr. Danilo B. Bose.
To all the officers and members of the Alumni Association of the University of Santo Tomas and the UST Graduate School Center for Continuing Professional Education and Development, with its partner, Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, through its Open University System as its partner. My warmest congratulations for the successful conduct of the 2019 and 2021 Academic Alumni, Industry, and Government, or the AAIG Summits. I hope that there will be more activities like this in the future. Congratulations. The fourth industrial revolution as perfect storm of technology posits alarm to human capital, and so we must effect transformative actions to attune with these changes. As the effect is inclusive in nature, education sector of which our office, the Commission on Higher Education, is of concern, cannot escape the challenges of the fourth industrial revolution. One of the challenges in higher education institutions is how we can maintain a sustainable education globally competitive the next couple of years, and on how we can equip the labor force to be economically useful for the industry. With the existing threats of COVID-19 pandemic, the method of delivering education has expanded to the virtual world, the online classroom. The introduction of online learning also posted a new challenge for the higher education institutions on how they can assure the attainment of quality education. In this light, the future-proofing of higher education must be set in place, which happens when an institutional strategy is focused on the future while mitigating the impact of foreseen events such as the pandemic and the fourth industrial revolution. As we begin integrating traditional face-to-face classroom learning to the new normal, it is our fervent desire to champion quality higher education while being watchful of the possible threats of this pandemic. As such, we're continuously conducting monitoring activities to our HCIs to make sure that the institutions are compliant with the minimum requirements set by the standards of the Commission on Higher Education. In the same manner, I give emphasis to the importance of collaborative partnership efforts among the academe, alumni, industry, and government sectors of which the AAIG Caravan 2022 intends to accomplish. These sectors must work in harmony to attain a common goal. The power of an industry and university for collaboration, for example, allows both parties to rely on each other for their strengths. Industry has the funding for research and the experience to commercialize a product, while universities are research powerhouses who can tackle the in-the-trenches work to invent, develop, and test products. On the part of the Commission on Higher Education as a government agency, public consultations with industry partners are conducted to ensure that the policies, standards, and guidelines are in consonance with the current needs of the industry. As the common saying goes, we can do more together. To everyone, let us all be champions and advocates in our respective sectors as we walk toward in claiming inclusive growth. Agyaman kami unay, mabuhay tayong lahat.
Thank you, Dr. Bose, for acknowledging and appreciating the efforts of higher education institutions, especially in Region 1 and CAR, in championing quality higher education and for reminding us that we can always do more together. Reminders to our participants, please do not forget to write down your questions for each of the speakers at the Q&A box. We will be collecting these questions and address them during the open forum. Our second speaker graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Philosophy and Master of Arts degree in Philosophy at the University of Santo Tomas. He has also finished units of law at at the Philippine Law School. He finished a diploma course in Spanish at the Instituto Cervantes and a diploma in development management at the Development Academy of the Philippines, graduating with honors. He worked as a full-time educator, having taught different social sciences subjects. In 2016, he worked at the Department of the Interior and Local Government Central Office in Quezon City as Chief of Staff of the Assistant Secretary for Plans and Programs. He thereafter became Chief of Staff of the Undersecretary for Operations of the DILG. He also became the Project Manager of the Drug Abuse Treatment and Rehabilitation Center Project Management Office of the DILG. In 2018, at the age of 28, he was appointed as a Regional Director of the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, also known as TESDA. He was first assigned in Zamboanga Peninsula, then was reassigned here in the Ilocos region as TESDA Region 1 Regional Director in October 2019 up to present. Please give your attention to Dr. Vincent Atienza Cifra.
Good day, everyone. Good day po. I'm Vincent Cifra, the Regional Director of TESDA Region 1. As of recording, it is an honor to be invited by my beloved alma mater, the University of Santo Tomas, through the Alumni Association and the UST Grad School, where I also took my MA in Philosophy, to deliver a talk on the vital role of TESDA and our technical vocational institutions, or TVIs, in the light of the transition back to face-to-face learning, which is our key point. Aligned with this, and to simplify further, I entitled my talk, TESDA in the New Normal. Of course, the transition back to face-to-face learning is part of this new normal. The outline. Firstly, let us settle the definition of each important term that we will be using throughout the talk. Secondly, let us have a good grasp of the TVI. Across the discussion, it is hoped that our dear listeners will be able to see the relevance or vital role of technical vocational education and training in our transition back to face-to-face learning. Let us look at some of the terms. First, FLD is our term for the combination of different teaching and learning means. For instance, a combination of offline distance learning elements and online learning is a kind of flexible learning delivery, or simply FLD. Let me focus on number 9, the TVI. TVI means Technical Vocational Institution. In our discussions inside TESDA, for instance, during directorate conferences, we often use this term to refer to private training providers with programs registered with TESDA. The term we use for TESDA managed or owned training provider is TTI. So TVI, TTI, which means TTI means TESDA Technology Institution. In short, TVI refers to private, while TTI refers to public, particularly TESDA's own school. But in our discussion, in view of the briefer I received, we will be using the term TVI to refer to all TESDA's training providers, whether private or public, TESDA owned or not. So we will use the term TVI generically to refer to TESDA's training providers. The image shows our inauguration of our compact driving NC2 range at one of our TVIs in San Fernando City, La Union, which is the TESDA Regional Training Center, Region 1. What you see on screen are examples of our TVIs in Region 1. We have 245 TVIs in the entire region. These are our training providers, vocational schools. Each TVI is different insofar as their program registrations are concerned. For example, as of now, PTC Urdaneta does not yet have HEO programs registered, but PTC Candon already has HEO programs registered, like on hydraulic excavator. The program registrations of TVIs are also dependent on many factors, including the skills demands and priorities in their respective areas. These demands are influenced by the labor market and even the local government units. There are LGUs who prioritize health. The reason why we have contact tracing program registrations in some TVIs. Other LGUs look at ICT, others agriculture, others tourism, etc. Most of our training programs cannot be conducted through full online. TESDA, after all, is really on practical learning. This is the reason why actually, insofar as TESDA Region 1 is concerned, we have already been conducting face-to-face learning since early 2021, if I remember correctly, in collaboration with and with approval of our concerned LGUs. But we just manage the volume of learners on site and we make sure that all health protocols are followed, meaning bigger workshops, financial subsidies for health equipment for scholars, etc. And we do not do the trainings in full physical mode. We do them through FLD or flexible learning delivery, which is a combination of physical and virtual mostly. For example, 5 students are at the workshop for physical learning while 20 students are watching online and have their own activities at home. Then the next day, these 5 will have their work assignments and activities at home and attend classes online, while another 5 will be at the workshop doing actual welding, among other activities, while the others watch and learn through online means. Plus, of course, we also capacitate our learners in using LMS or learning management systems where learning can be sustained. Because through LMS, our learners can access recorded lectures, access recommended links for more related learning, among other benefits. The most important part of the TVI infrastructure is actually the trainer or learning facilitator, especially in the light of the new normal. How so? Let me explain how one can become a learning facilitator or trainer in TESDA. First, one has to learn the skill. This is the national certificate or NC level. Usually, this pertains to NC2. First step is to get the NC2. For example, NC2 in Agri-Crop. After acquiring the skill as proven by the NC, learn how to teach the skill by taking up our Trainer's Methodology course or TMC. Learn the principles of competency-based training, etc. TMC or simply TM is the next step. After learning how to teach the skill, get some industry experience, then gather evidences of this and apply for what we call the National TVET Trainer Certificate or NTTC. The NTTC is our version of a professional license. We grant this to our trainers or learning facilitators. So the steps to be a learning facilitator are 1 NC, 2 TM, then NTTC. NC, TM, NTTC. Again, that's NC, TM, NTTC. On screen, you will see an example. With all these certificates, one can already become a TESDA learning facilitator or trainer. But this is applicable only for all TR courses, meaning all with training regulations courses. For the NTR courses or no training regulations courses or programs, this is not applicable. There is another process for NTRs and they vary depending on the skill area. One competency required in the TM level or trainer's methodology course is the competency called facilitating e-learning sessions. This competency, facilitating e-learning sessions, is a guarantee that our trainers are knowledgeable with using internet tools, learning management systems, flexible learning, etc. Even before the pandemic, we already have this existing infrastructure on e-learning. It is actually an integral part of our TM. This is one important benefit that we can get from TESDA and our TVIs in the light of the transition back to face-to-face learning, because we have lots of best practices already in terms of doing flexible learning, as this has been part of our design ever since. As we transition back to full face-to-face learning, perhaps we can consider lessening still face-to-face engagements by integrating our lesson plans with e-learning means already, because whether we like it or not, COVID is still here and it is still continuously evolving. And we can learn from the TESDA experience on this integration that I am talking about to support our transition back to face-to-face learning by means of lessening the risks moving forward. This integration can also give our schools some breathing space in between full face-to-face school days to give way for classroom disinfection, for example, among other health benefits. For instance, Monday we have full face-to-face, then Tuesday we have e-learning, which is e-learning. We have e-learning while full disinfection is ongoing at school, and so on and so forth. So pwedeng palitan siya. Generally, some of what we hope to continue achieving amidst the pandemic are as follows. Of course, the successful learning of competencies, whether we teach virtually or physically or a combination of both. Of course, we also have to think of reducing pandemic risks. For example, let us consider a possible fourth or fifth wave or another pandemic. Wag naman sana. Are we ready? Thinking this, we can reduce pandemic risks early by learning from our mistakes with COVID-19. A mistake or lack is our people's insufficient food production skills, such as but not limited to the skill to set up self-sustaining mini organic farms at our very homes. In TESDA, we have a model of a 400 to 500 square meters property that can be set up into a self-sustaining food production site that can sustain a family of 5. This for a small financial capital. This is another relevance of TESDA and TVET in light of our transition back to face-to-face learning. Our TVIs teach this, and in fact, our TESDA-owned schools have existing models of this inside our institutions. We can learn this at home while transitioning so that we are prepared for any new wave just in case. I highlighted the continuous EGASE because this is a very important mission of TESDA. This means enrollment, graduation, assessment, certification, and employment. Of course, we hope to continue with our enrollment, graduation, employments, etc. The successful implementation of these 5 pillars, EGASE, means the successful capacitation of our people on various skills, ICT, health, food production, etc. That can help our families better handle our transition back to face-to-face learning under the new normal. I believe that this is another relevance of TESDA's TVIs in light of our transition back to face-to-face learning, as we have contact tracing training, health skills training, solid waste management training, handling COVID-19 in the workplace training, information communication technology skills training, among others that can better equip us in our transition. If an older member of the family, for example, was trained by a TESDA TVI on handling COVID-19, then that family will be better equipped in guiding their young ones who will be participating in our transition back to face-to-face learning, which in turn will help ensure the success of our transition. These among many others. Here is the situation of TESDA Region 1. Our skills training programs have FLD registrations, meaning in case of lockdowns, again, we are fully prepared to conduct a significant number of our training programs despite pandemic restrictions through FLD. Our TESDA Regional Office TVI, namely the Regional Training Center Region 1, never had to undergo a lockdown. Hence, we were immediately able to reopen trainings early 2021, adopting a hybrid of face-to-face and online and offline distance learning. In general, despite the pandemic, our regional situation, I would say, is very positive. Though there are still, of course, lots of room for improvement. In fact, despite the pandemic, we were still able to construct a 2-floor dormitory for our scholars at the Regional Training Center. The marker of the said dormitory is what you see on screen. This dormitory was constructed by our students through the training cum production method, wherein scholars of construction skills training work on this as their training output. Here are some of the challenges. Of course, internet connectivity, which also includes speed, among other challenges, which we are continuously trying to improve on and resolve, as the case may be. Some of our suggested solutions. Let us keep implementing skills training programs that can help us prepare better in case another pandemic hits on agriculture, face mask making, ICT, health, etc. Let us work on automating as many of our processes as possible, as this will also help reduce ground workload, which in turn will help us resolve lack of personnel challenges. These among many other suggested actions. In the interest of time, let me end my short presentation with those insights. To share, the image you see on screen is one of our face mask production activities through our dressmaking and tailoring related skills training activities at one of our TVIs during the height of the pandemic. This was in Rosales, Pangasinan. With that, Agyamanak Apo, thank you for your time. Allow me to entertain some of your questions po, if any. Thank you po.
That was a very inspiring talk, Dr. Vincent. Despite the pandemic, TESDA still managed to turn it into an opportunity of advancement and continuous improvement. Thank you again, Dr. Vincent. And as Dr. Vincent said, your questions will be acknowledged and addressed during the open forum. So please do not hesitate to send them in our Q&A box. Our next speaker started her government service when she was 15 years old as a municipal councilor in Mangaldan, Pangasinan, representing the Kabataang Barangay. At 21, she was appointed as a young ambassador of goodwill to ASEAN and Japan. After passing the CPA board examination, she served as a researcher at the National Tax Research Center. After 10 years at the executive department, she transferred to the legislative branch and has been in the Senate since 1999. Director Mir currently heads the Direct Taxes branch of the Senate Tax Study and Research Office. She graduated from St. Louis University with a bachelor's degree in commerce, major in accounting, cum laude. She took her master's degree in government management at the Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila and in the National Security Administration at the National Defense College of the Philippines. She earned a doctoral degree of philosophy in development administration from the Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University Open University System. Director Mir is a lieutenant colonel in the Philippine Air Force Reserve Corps. During her active tour of duty from 2005 to 2012, she was the group commander of the Northern Luzon PAF Reservists and was the ROTC commandant of St. Louis College, Colegio de Dagupan, and Cordillera Career Development College. Please welcome Dr. Maria Lucrecia R. Minan.
Good morning to the organizers and participants to the Region 1 and Cordillera Administrative Region segments of the AAIG 2022 Caravan. Resiliency and sustainability are two broad and strong terminologies when we speak about our country's development. As a way of providing a demarcation line for today's sharing, I will present the unique role of taxation as a tool for economic sustainability, with particular focus on the workings at the Senate of the Philippines. The Senate of the Philippines is the upper chamber of the Congress of the Philippines. It exists to create and promote a national perspective on national policy. It serves as the ultimate bastion of free debate and oversight of the Republic. It has therefore become a revered democratic institution that consistently upholds the national interest, promotes transparency and accountability in public service. Let me state that the Senate of the Philippines may be considered a conductive organization that engages in dismantling the boundaries of its structure and functions by connecting with external organizations and interests to strategically and operationally enhance its performance. I associate the Senate of the Philippines to a conductor because in its duty as a lawmaking body, it does not act alone. Aside from closely working with the executive branch of government and the House of Representatives, it consults the stakeholders, inquires about their position, asks for their opinion. The Senate listens to all sides of the story, debates on the merits of the proposal, compromises with the stakeholders and policymakers to strike a win-win solution. Just as I have learned at the DMMMSU Open University System that people should be at the center of the policy debate, the Senate holds on to the ancient and fundamental democratic truth that given the right circumstances, ordinary people have a substantial capacity to overcome differences and discover common ground. Collaboration is that common ground. For 23 years now, I work at the Senate Tax Study and Research Office. The STSRO is the technical arm of the Committee on Ways and Means. On a daily basis, we eat and drink tax bills, so to speak. We are always on the alert for bills and resolutions that are primarily referred to the Committee on Ways and Means, and for bills and resolutions that are secondarily referred to the committee. In conducting our research, we are guided by the fundamental precepts of a sound tax system, namely fiscal adequacy, administrative feasibility, and theoretical justice. Our research goes deep into the historical background of the proposal. For example, has this been tackled in the previous Congress? If yes, what happened? We also read about the theoretical foundation of the tax proposal. For example, what have the earlier economists, tax practitioners, or policymakers said about this proposal? Are there theories that back this up? Has other tax jurisdictions applied this tax? What are the country experiences? We also seek the opinion of stakeholders, the people and sectors who will be directly and indirectly affected should the tax proposal becomes law. We consult historical data and project the potential revenue gain or loss based on certain parameters suggested by the proponents, stakeholders, or experts. Even the United Nations has recognized the vital role of taxation when it said that the mobilization and effective use of domestic resources are central to the pursuit of sustainable development. The UN held that taxation is a powerful tool to help finance achievements of the Sustainable Development Goals, and it can also spur inclusive and sustainable development in other ways. Fiscal policies can simultaneously mobilize resources, reduce inequalities, and promote sustainable consumption and production patterns. Working around the theme for AAIG Caravan 2020 for Region 1 and CAR, my team decided to share with you the tax proposals that have been enacted as Republic Acts. These proposals are either novel or are rehash of what have worked and therefore survived and thrived. Also, as delimitation, I shall concentrate on the laws passed during the 17th and 18th Congress, the equivalent of the 6-year Duterte administration. These laws were chosen as these represent resiliency solutions that encompass the sustainable development goals and the overall well-being of Filipinos. The following slides show the tax laws passed to pave the way to a sustainable economic and social development. RA 10963, the Train Law. There were major tax rate reductions under the Train Law that aimed to simplify the tax system and promote fairness for taxpayers. 1. Personal income tax tables were restructured into two, one for compensation income earners and another for self-employed or professionals. It gave income tax relief for those earning not more than 250,000 pesos a year. Those among us who are receiving purely compensation income, I'm sure that you notice a remarkable decrease in your withholding income tax. Next year, the tax rate would again decrease by 5 percentage points unless the government of President Marcos Jr. decides otherwise. Self-employed and professional individuals were given an optional 8% tax rate on gross sales or receipts in excess of 250,000 pesos. Again, this amendment effectively resulted to the so-called take-home pay that could take you home. Another major amendment under the train law was the lowering and equalization of estate tax and donors tax rates to 6% from a high rate of 20%. This amendment removed the confusion among property owners who wished to transfer their property. Before, they would consider which among sale, donation, or estate transfer would they use because the tax rates differ from each other. As revenue generation is also one of the purposes behind the passage of this law, the following taxes were increased in order to finance the infrastructure and build project of the government. Excise tax on petroleum products, mining excise tax, cigarette excise tax, documentary stamp tax, FCDU, capital gains tax, stock transaction tax. While the VAT rate was retained at 12%, the VAT base was expanded with the removal of non-essential exemptions under special laws. RA 11213 and RA 11569, Estate Tax Amnesty. RA 11213 gave taxpayers a one-time opportunity to settle their tax obligations, including an estate tax amnesty program. Estates of decedents who died on or before December 31, 2017, and whose estate taxes have not been paid or have accrued as of December 31, 2017, are given a period of 2 years to settle their estate tax obligations, starting on June 15, 2019. However, several months after the law was enacted, COVID-19 pandemic entered the scene with lockdowns here and there, which made it difficult for our countrymen to avail of the tax amnesty. Thus, our legislators worked on the passage of RA 11569, which was signed by President Duterte on June 30, 2021. With the passage of this law, availers have 2 years, from June 15, 2021 to June 14, 2023 to comply with the requirements and to take advantage of this opportunity. RA 11467, Excise Tax on Sin Products. This is a cost-effective health measure envisioned to reduce smoking and alcohol consumption. The measure imposed higher excise tax on alcohol products, electronic cigarettes, and heated tobacco products. This also introduced regulation of e-cigarettes and HTPs with the Food and Drug Administration, an exemption of sale or importation of prescription drugs and medicines for diabetes, high cholesterol, and hypertension from value-added tax beginning January 1, 2020. The law also provided for the expansion of VAT exemptions on the sale and importation of prescription drugs for cancer, mental illness, tuberculosis, and kidney diseases beginning January 1, 2023. RA 11534, Create Law. This law is considered the largest fiscal stimulus for businesses in our recent history. It reduced the corporate income tax, which at 30% is considered the highest in the Southeast Asian region. With the enactment of the Create Law, the CIT of large enterprises is reduced to 25% and to 20% for MSMEs, which make up 99% of businesses in the country. Create also provided for a generous and flexible tax incentive system that is performance-based, time-bound, targeted, and transparent. RA 11590, POGO tax regime. This law clarified and established once and for all the taxation regime of offshore gaming licenses or POGOs. It clarified that all offshore gaming licenses, regardless of whether Philippine or foreign-based, are considered doing business in the Philippines and must pay 5% gaming tax on the gross gaming revenue or receipts derived from their gaming operations. The gaming tax is in lieu of all other direct and indirect internal revenue taxes and local taxes. The law likewise imposed that alien individuals employed by POGOs shall pay a final withholding tax of 25% on their gross income. RA 11635, Tax on Proprietary Educational Institutions. This measure provided clarity on the tax regime of proprietary educational institutions, emphasizing that all proprietary educational institutions, whether for-profit or non-profit, shall pay a preferential tax of 10%. The law also allowed proprietary educational institutions to avail of the reduced tax rate of 1% from July 1, 2020 to June 30, 2023 under the CREATE Act. The laws described above, passed by both houses of Congress, provide for the first step in ensuring that the Philippines and our people get the enabling push needed to rise above the challenges that we continue to face. While we are glad that Secretary Benjamin Jokno broadly predicts that the Philippines' economic fundamentals remain solid and this will carry us through full recovery, and that the national government will continue to implement measures that will balance the twin goals of saving livelihoods and saving lives, international economies are still wary that global economic recovery hinges on a delicate balance amid new waves of COVID-19 infections, persistent labor market challenges, lingering supply chain constraints, and rising inflationary pressures. During the July 25 State of the Nation address of President Bongbong Marcos, he laid down his administration's tax policy. This includes, among others, 1. VAT on digital transactions. This will broaden the tax base to include sale of digital goods and services. Following the equity principle of taxation, this proposal will level the playing field between the brick-and-mortar transactions and digital ones. 2. Real property valuation reform. Real property tax is considered the most stable and productive source of revenue for LGUs. However, LGUs cannot maximize their revenue potential since valuation and/or revision of property values lies in the power of the local chief executive. This dilemma will be solved with the proposed property valuation reform, since valuation as a technical function will be given to a single valuation agency separate from LGUs. 3. Passive income and financial intermediary tax. Harmonization of tax rates on passive income and financial intermediaries would reduce the number of tax rates from 80 to 36. This would make the administration of the tax imposed on the financial sector simpler, fairer, more efficient, and more regionally competitive. We at the Senate Tax Study and Research Office are in for much busy days ahead. Rest assured that your Senate of the Philippines will continue to be a solid institution that looks after the general interests of the Filipino people on all fronts, including tax policy. If you need further clarification, please feel free to get in touch. Thank you for your time and attention. God bless us all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mir. Wow, that is quite an enlightening, okay, for us about that is quite enlightening to us about the functions, processes, and policies in taxation. Surely these information are very important because they're about taxes and would be very helpful to us one way or another. I'm sure you already have your questions, especially regarding taxation. So we already finished discussing about education, TESDA, and now taxation. I know you have a lot of questions already. You may now send them in our Q&A box, and we will be addressing them in the open forum. Our fourth speaker is the Provincial Director of DTI La Union. She is married with 3 kids and has been with DTI for 33 years. 18 years in DTI Pangasinan and 11 years at the DTI Regional Office as the Division Chief of the Industry Development Division and Consumer Protection Division, and was transferred to DTI La Union in 2018 and has been working as the Provincial Director up to present. Let us listen to Director Merly D. Membrere.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Merly Membrere of DTI La Union, and let me share to you the role of true MSME growth and development. The MSME sector is a critical driver for our country's economic growth. The sector serves as supplier and subcontractor to large enterprises and forms a strategic component of the export value chain. Thus, the need for a program that can help the micro and small enterprises become part of the growing economy and will somehow contribute in promoting transformational education. Allow me to then share some notes on the 2020 MSME statistics from the Philippine Statistical Agency. First, microenterprises are those with capitalization of not more than 3 million due to their smallness have been observed to grow in lesser proportions compared to the small, medium, or large enterprises. The 2020 list of establishment of the Philippine Statistics Authority recorded a total of 957,620 business enterprises operating in the country. Of these, 952,969 or 99.51% are MSMEs and 4,651 or 0.49% are large enterprises. Microenterprises constitute 88.77% or 850,127 of total MSME establishment, followed by small enterprises at 10.25% or 98,126 and medium enterprises at 0.49 or 4,716. Second, together these MSMEs generated a total of 5,380,815 jobs or 62.66% of the country's total employment. The microenterprises produce the biggest share of 29.38%, closely followed by small enterprises at 25.78%, while medium enterprises were far behind at 7.50%. Meanwhile, large enterprises generated a total of 3,206,011 jobs or 37.34% of the country's overall employment. Third, microenterprises, because of their number, can therefore spur economic development considering that they generate jobs in communities where they operate and in and complement other business establishments they do business with or depend upon for inputs, logistics, and for other support services. Thus, when this huge number of microenterprises are supported, their impact to the economy will also be enhanced. So to ensure inclusive growth as well as addressing income inequality, there is an urgency to empower those at the bottom of the pyramid and marginalized sectors with the right mindset and know-how to be able to move up in life. We'll teach them how to fish and not just give them a fish, as the saying goes. We'll need to empower them so they can also share in the benefits of the ongoing economic growth and improve the quality of their lives by engaging in vibrant entrepreneurial activities. To achieve this goal, the Department of Trade and Industry endeavors to provide enabling programs to help aspiring entrepreneur roll out his or her business and engaging smarter entrepreneur to earn more. Let me impart some of the programs we offer to our MSME and industry partners, the 7 M's of entrepreneurship. The 7 M's strategy of DTI for the MSME development holistically equips the small business sector to make headway in increasing the competitive market while contributing to the large cost of sustaining the entrepreneurial revolution. Our new Secretary, Alfredo E. Pascual, has given us instruction to pursue MSME development, and in fact, it is number 1 of his agenda. The 7M's strategy will equip even the smallest entrepreneurs to be success and innovation driven, as well as proactive in developing their business and become better entrepreneurs. First in this is the mindset change, okay? So we can help our entrepreneurs embrace the right and positive entrepreneurial attitude that will carry them through their vibrant entrepreneurial journey. With DTI's Negosyo Center seminars, the SME Roving Academy, and the Kapatid Mentor Me program, we infuse an entrepreneurial mindset that is success and innovation-driven, collaborative, and proactive. The second M is mastery. At our Negosyo Center, we teach our entrepreneur or would-be entrepreneur to master the know-how and how-tos of entrepreneurship, from what they need to set up a business, basic rules of spotting product and market opportunities, finding your product positioning and differentiation, product development, market development, basic business finance, and plan preparations, as well as developing a system for continuous innovation. The third M is mentoring. We provide our entrepreneurs with continuous business guidance in partnership with the private sector members like the Go Negosyo, the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the Philippine Franchising Association, the Federation of the Filipino-Chinese Chamber of Commerce and Industry, among others. Thanks to programs like Kapatid Mentor Me, where you can experience coaching and mentoring of industry experts and large corporations on different aspects of business operations for free. So the number 4 is money. Okay? We give you access to funding to DTI's P3 Microfinance Program in cooperation with our SB Corporation, or connect you to microfinance institutions to help you out with financing, whether you're setting up a business or if you want to expand. Our Negosyo Center business counselors will be more than willing to assist our MSMEs for the documentary requirements as required by the financing institutions. Okay. The number 5 of the 7 M's is machine. Okay, we equip you not only with the must-have knowledge on equipment and right tools to ensure quality production under the Shared Service Facilities Program, you can also use this to level up your production and increase productivity. With innovation, you and your fellow entrepreneurs can produce more products more efficiently. For the province of La Union, we had established SSF on food processing, handicraft making, furniture making, to name a few. And then the 6M is market access. We help you promote your product to provincial and national trade fairs, the One Town One product shows, Go Local retail store concept in major malls, and the internationally recognized FAME exhibit. We can also link your business to big companies or to governments so that you can supply them with your products on a continued basis. And the 7 M's is the models of negosyo. We give you different business ideas to help you get into business, from traditional enterprises to direct selling and franchising. We also teach you livelihood skills like baking, soap making, and others at our negosyo centers. There's more than one way to do business. MSMEs need to have ties with bigger guys to create synergies, which are essential in matching and innovating products and services. Also in La Union, we have a very active La Union Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Development Council, headed by the President of the Chamber of Commerce in La Union, President Lina Flor Gihison, and co-chaired by the Honorable Rafael Veronica A. Ortega David, our Provincial Governor. The council is comprised of representatives from government and private sectors involved in MSME development. We also acknowledge the contribution of our academe in the development of our young entrepreneurs as they form part in the challenging world of entrepreneurship. So what are you waiting for? Be part of the challenge you want in your life and pursue your entrepreneurial dream. This is the way to move up in life and take control of your destiny. Together, let us continue the entrepreneurial revolution. With this, maraming salamat po at magandang araw po sa ating lahat.
Thank you so much, Director Membrere. Our takeaway from her talk is the quotation, teach them how to fish. And once again, thank you, ma'am, for empowering the marginalized sectors with this righteous mindset. So we already had discussions on education, TESDA, taxation, plus DTI. If you know anyone who would like to have their own businesses, maybe you can ask, or you can give your questions for the open forum later so that you can help other people also have their businesses if you would like to, or if you have concerns in taxation and also TESDA. I think we already have one question in the chat box. You may send them in the chat box already so we can also see them. Our last speaker for today's webinar took up her Bachelor of Science in Biology at the University of Santo Tomas, Manila, and earned her Doctor of Medicine degree at the same school. She headed the Radiology Department of Bethany School, San Fernando, La Union, and La Union Medical Center at Agoo, La Union, both in 2011. She had also rendered her expertise at the Ilocos Training and Regional Medical Center. She is a member of the Philippine Society of Ultrasound Clinical Medicine, a diplomate of the Philippine Board of Radiology, a fellow of the Philippine College of Radiology, the Ultrasound Society of the Philippines, and the CT MRI Society of the Philippines. She is also a member of the Asia Pacific Mayors Academy of the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, and of CT Scan Society of the Philippines. She was the president of La Union Medical Society in 2007 and an advisor at present. In 2013 to 2015, she was the president of the Philippine College of Radiology Central and Northern Luzon. In 2014 to 2016, she was the president of Christ the King Alumni Association. And in 2011 to 2019, she was the president of Philippine Science High School, Ilocos Region Campus. May I call Dr. Menchi L. de Guzman, the former municipal mayor of Bawang, La Union.
Thank you very much. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. First of all, I would like to thank my alma mater, the UST Alumni Association, and of course, equally, my alma mater, of course, the DMMMSU Open University System, for which I also had my diploma in local governance administration. So magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. I'm very proud to be part of this AAIG Caravan Region 1, and I believe as a Thomasian, with my 3-year experience at compassion. So that's me when I took my oath of office in 2019. And I would just like to share with you some of the highlights of my term. Just a few slides maybe. You could join me now in my journey. Of course, with the onset of the pandemic, one of the most important office for which I really had been very, very close to is the MSWD. And of course, I was able to share with them the firsts in the municipality, like, of course, the celebration of the Children's Month, the indigenous peoples, and of course, other activities as well. And so during my term, I was able to, engage myself personally with our constituents in all barangays, 39 barangays in the municipality of Bawang. It all started with, of course, the distribution of school materials to school children. Of course, I was able to solemnize a lot of weddings. And if you can see, as a mayor and of course, as an artist, we were able to make the Couples Day special by, decorating for them the mayor's office during weddings. And of course, the distribution of the financial, burial, and medical assistance it was, it's kind of not so usual. So I had my own initiative of distributing financial assistance with an interactive type. So I invite people, especially the recipients, to at least share with us their stories behind those assistance. And of course, very, very important, one of the highlights of my term was, of course, my engagement with the people during the Bagyong Maring, where at the height of the typhoon, I was really going around the municipality up to midnight, distributing food packs, especially to the victims of the typhoon Maring. And of course, Women's Month celebration will not take a backseat. And of course, as a doctor, as a mother, as a radiologist, and all rolled into one, I also have my share in the Women's Month celebration wherein I get to have lectures on livelihood, on reproductive health, and a whole lot more. And of course, we have also far-flung and displaced and disadvantaged areas in the municipality where we really have to cross rivers just to get there. And I was able to at least share my expertise in the medical profession by serving our people in the far-flung barangays of Bawang, La Union. And of course, what really made us be the best versions of ourselves was during the pandemic, where, every now and then we get to have a glimpse of what really is to be COVID affected. So with the MSWD office, I was able to share daily activities with them, distributing food packs to all COVID-stricken families in the municipality. And of course, very important, of course, is, somehow the COVID really affected a lot. And we really also witnessed the demise of a lot of our constituents. And wherein I really have to be with them during their hours and or days of grief and distress. And of course, during activities like the Children's Month, somehow this, I think this was taken pre-pandemic, because we see, gathering there. And we were able to give also gifts to children through their wish upon a star. So we were able to give their wishes on Christmas Day. Of course, tourism, the culture, and the arts, as a Thomasian, I believe I was able to integrate my being a Thomasian by my active participation in tourism, the culture, and the arts. We have our Bagak Festival, our Panagkakararwa. Actually, this is our annual Bagak Festival. Bagak stands for a rising star in Ilocano. That is our icon in the municipality of Bawang. It's celebrated every December 16 up to its culmination on January 5, it being the foundation day of Bawang, La Union. So as you can see, we see here the participation of the different schools, different barangays, and of course, the different employees of the LGU. Of course, my term, I was able to reach out at least to all sectors of society. And I believe our lolas and our lolos didn't take a backseat as well. I think they are our priorities, because I believe, we emulate from them. So we have also our Pamaskong Handog kay Lolo at Lola. We have that every year. And of course, before the pandemic, we were able to have our Panagkakararwa Festival. There's been a municipal ordinance wherein we get to celebrate it every October 1st of every year. So I think in here, I was able to be with the youth, the cyclists. I myself, I'm a cyclist, and I was able to bring at least goodies to our children in our Bawang Tourism Highway. And first, of course, in my term, we are able to celebrate the first. We have our Calgao Festival, which we just celebrated a few months back, wherein we had our first Rama Festival. Of course, we enjoyed and we engaged, of course, the participation of the coastal barangays and, of course, our farmers and fisher folks as well. And, of course, we also had our rackathon and the bamboo rafting competition. It was held, of course, at the river, the Bawang River. And as you can see, I myself is also a musician, and we were able also to bring music to our constituents. And during my term, we also celebrated the first ever Indigenous Peoples Congress in 2019. And this is also one way of empowering our brothers and sisters in the IP community. And of course, we also had our first Tourism and Business Summit, wherein we were able to empower and engage the participation of all business sectors and, of course, the Bawang Tourism Council as well. And of course, health and wellness is paramount. And I think it's very primordial for me because I am a doctor by profession. And of course, we have to really advocate health and wellness. And of course, apart from that, we also have to integrate other tourism sites in the municipality. One of is the Mount Kabugbugan, which is 251 above sea level in the barangay of Palug Silim Mansangan, which is actually approximately 5 kilometers from the town proper. So we are able to conduct the first ever, the M Duro Challenge and the M Downhill Challenge. And of course, in the Bawang Tourism Highway, I think is very fundamental in my term, in that we would like to empower our constituents along this Bawang Tourism Highway. We have to at least bring out what they have to offer in their barangays, their produce, their skills, their talents, and of course, the people wherein they get to be engaged as well in the sectors of tourism and agriculture. And of course, the Makaayayo Cycle Festival. Makaayayo is an Ilocano term, which when we translate it to English, it means enticing. And so we were able to at least promote a lot of tourism sites in the barangays. So we can see here the Bawang, the San Pedro Bell, the Taxero Monument, the old PNR of Bawang La Union, and of course the vineyards, and of course the other tourist spots in the different barangays of the municipality. And we can see here, of course, as an LGU, as an LCE, we also have to engage the participation of each employee of the municipality. And so here, during our festival, we were able to have our competition, wherein it was participated by all LGU employees, wherein they have to see for themselves where in the municipality is the best tourism area where we could get to promote this area, and of course the people as well as their products. And of course, during the recently held Holy Week, when Bawang was already under alert level 1, we were able to go back to at least somehow a semblance of normalcy. So we were able to conduct the annual fluvial procession and of course the annual conduct of the Stations of the Cross in the coastal barangay of Bawang La Union. And of course, AAIG, I think, academe, alumni, industry, government. Now, we were just so very happy that Bawang is one of the recipients of the grants from the National Center for the Culture and the Arts with a grant for the Cultural Mapping Project in Bawang La Union. And I'm just so happy being an alumna, of course, of the Open University University of DMSU, we were able to have that cultural mapping project. And soon we will be having the first edition of the book come this maybe within the end of the year. And of course, agriculture is also very, very close to my heart. Me as, of course, as a daughter of a farmer of the late Avelino Abuan Lomboy, being the grape king of the Philippines. And of course, some of the highlights of my tenure as a mayor was our groundbreaking of the Philippine Rural Development Project, the PRDP, which was held in May. This is a 4.75 kilometer project connecting the mountainous barangays of Santa Monica and Cabalayangan. It is now an ongoing project of the Department of Agriculture. And of course, within the agriculture, of course, is my engagement, of course, with all the farmers in the municipality of Bawang, including, of course, our rice resiliency program under the rice banner, under the corn banner, the awarding of palay seeds, the corn, of course, the different machineries, agriculture equipment, to all the different barangays of the 39 barangays in the municipality. So as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, I was able to see for myself firsthand to be with all the farmers, with all the constituents of Bawang La Union. So I have to be with them in all the activities. So the distribution of subsidy, financial assistance, the awarding of tractors, pump and engine equipments, seedlings, knapsack sprayers, machineries and equipment alike. And of course, fisher folks did not also take a backseat, as they were also one of also the priorities in my term. And as well as the other livelihood programs we are also in partnership with other national agencies, BFAR, DTI, DOST. And of course, in my own initiative as a private individual, we also do community service every Saturday, wherein we go to different schools, barangay halls, churches as well. Of course, I'm a devout Catholic. And of course, I am a Thomasian. We go to different schools, barangays, and different churches, decorating their grounds, their facades. We do landscaping, gardening, and of course, we do this just for the love of our students, our parents, and of course, our parishioners as well, and the church sector. And of course, one of the highlights of my term, despite the pandemic, I think we have to be the best version of ourselves. That's what I always tell people in Bawang, that the pandemic should not hinder us from doing the best of our best and being the best version of ourselves. And I think I was able to have the LG of Bawang ISO certified in May 30, 2022. So we had the certification just before I left my office in July. And of course, apart from, of course, my being LCE, I heard a while back that during the first part of 2019-2020, I was able to join the different international conventions of the Asia Pacific Mayors Academy. And in 2020, in February, we were granted the certificate of completion by the UNSCAP, me now as a member of the Asia Mayors Academy for United Nations ESCAP. And I believe as a Thomasian doctor and as a mayor, also as an alumnus of the Open University of DMSU, I believe and I was able to integrate within my term and my future endeavors what it is to be a Thomasian, what it is to be a member, of course, a member or a panelist of this AAIG, of course, as a member of the Asia Pacific Mayor's Academy, as a mayor, as a Thomasian, and of course as a member of the DMMMSU Open University as well. Maraming salamat po for listening. And again, to all of you, I love you all. Good morning po.
Thank you so much, Dr. Menchi. That is how rich Bawang is in terms of tourism, agriculture, production, and public service. Thanks also to all our honorable and exemplary speakers. Surely the unforgettable perspectives shared in your talks will be utilized by our participants and audience, not only in specific professions, but in any way of living, actually. Okay, so we already have some questions in the chat box and in the Q&A box. Some of them I think have also been answered already, but they will still be discussed in the open forum. Now, please give us, or please again, share your questions. I know that there are additional thoughts or insights that you have in your mind that you would like to share. Ang question ko lang kay Ma'am Menchi kanina, how to be you po. She has a lot of accomplishments, just like our other speakers. But kidding aside, please think of questions that we may answer during the open forum. This is our only chance to have this a once-in-a-lifetime conversation, discussion with our speakers. Okay, and before we proceed to the open forum, please give us a few minutes to gather the questions or gather the questions for our guest speakers. And we would like to thank again our sponsors. Our main sponsor for this caravan is Rex Education, together with Rose Bowl Steakhouse and Restaurant at 595 MacArthur Highway, Pagdalagan Sur, Bawang, La Union. We also have Arcus Balay Home, Decor and Gifts, situated at shop number 20, CKC Arcade Building, Quezon Avenue, Sevilla, San Fernando City, La Union. And Tomasinong La Union Alumni Association. We'll be back after these videos.
Taon-taon, tuwing dumarating ang pasukan, ang palaging tanong ng nakararami ay, handa ba tayo?
Kakulangan ng silid-aralan sa ilang eskwelahan, sinalubong ng mga estudyante sa unang araw ng pasukan.
Sapat ba ang ating mga pangangailangan para mas makapagbahagi ng kaalaman sa bawat kabataan? Ngunit taon-taon din, sa kabila man ng mga hamon na dumarating, sama-sama natin itong tinutugunan sa abot ng ating kakayanan. Hanggang sa
hati ang opinyon ng nakararami sa pagpapatupad ng distance learning dahil sa mga problema gaya ng mabagal na internet connection at kakulangan ng gadget na maaaring gamitin sa pag-aaral.
Naging usap-usapan yung pag-delay muna ng pasukan hanggang sa susunod na taon kung kailan mas handa ang mga bata, mga magulang, teacher at mga paaralan. Marami man ang tutol sa pagbabalik eskwela, may mga solusyon at paraan na maaari nating gamitin para ituloy ang pagpapalawak ng kaalaman. Sa panahong nailagay sa panganib ang pagpapakalat ng karunungan sa mga kabataan, atin pa ding ginagampanan ang ating pangako para patuloy na itaas ang antas ng ating edukasyon sa panahon man ng pandemya. Ika nga, learning should never stop. Anumang pagsubok, kaya nating lagpasan basta sama-sama.
Nagtatanong, natutuwa, lumalawak ng mundo niya. Masdan mo siya, namamangha, marami nang nagagawa.
Ramdam ko kung gaano kalaki ang effort ng mga guro para lang maibahagi ang nalalaman nila sa mga bata. Doble ang hirap nila sa paghahanda.
Mas nakikita ko ngayon yung paikisa ng mga magulang, yung involvement nila, para maitawid namin ang kaalaman para sa mga bata. Mas tumibay ang partnership namin to make home study work.
Malaking bagay sa akin itong barangay handbook. Mas lalo kong naiintindihan ang pangangailangan ng aking mga nasasakupan. Lalo na ngayon nasa gitna tayo ng isang malawakang krisis. Nakakatulong din ito sa kung paano namin minamanage ang peace and order sa bawat lugar ng aming barangay. Sinisiguro din namin na mabahagi sa bawat barangay tanod at mga volunteer health workers ang aming mga natutunan sa pamamagitan ng mga seminars at counseling.
Since sa ibang bansa nagtatrabaho si mama at papa, sinisigurado ko na nasusubaybayan ko ang kapatid ko sa kanyang online classes. Ginagawan ko ng paraan para maturuan siya sa kanyang mga lessons at mga assignment. Mahirap sa umpisa, but I need to step up para sa kinabukasan niya.
Noong panahong nangyari ang pandemya, nahinto ang mga negosyo, nagsipakulong ang mga tao, tumigil ang ating mundo. Kaalaman lamang ang muling magpapabalik nito. Karunungan para muling maibalik ang buhay ng tao.
Sa aming ika-70 taon, handog namin ay pasasalamat sa lahat ng mga naging kasapi sa misyong maging gabay ng bawat batang Pilipino tungo sa kanilang mga mithiin. Mula sa bawat individual na bahagi ng REX na patuloy tumutugon sa kanilang tungkulin sa kabila ng pandemya, hanggang sa inyong mga tagapagtaguyod ng edukasyon na patuloy na pagsuporta, tayong lahat sama-sama.
Hawak kamay, ang pag-asa, gagabayan kita. Dahil para sa bata, aking pagsisikap. Para sa bata, aking hangad at pag-asa. Pangarap ko'y kung anong pangarap niya. Buong puso ko, buong puso ko, buong puso ko. Para sa bawat bata. Para sa bata, para sa bata.
This time, we will also be listening to your insights, your reflections, your experiences, and your queries. May I call on Dean Henry Tenedero, the AAIG main convener and chairman of the board of the UST AAI, to moderate these insightful conversations with our participants. Dean Henry.
Hello, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Manilin Kakanindin, for a very splendid way of moderating the whole process. Maraming salamat. So this is the point when we are going to ask some of you to share your impression. Because important to us is where do we go from here? How do we cascade the learning insights gained from this one-day caravan? The AAIG story started 3 years ago. It started with a simple dream of putting together, that's what we call it, coming together of the 4 important strategic partners that could spell transformative education. So we took the high road of making the Alumni Association not only as a social club or as a fundraising club, but an association that espouses and embraces societal changes that would impact the lives of the Filipino people. And now we are doing this caravan. We are now on the second leg of our caravan. Next, we go to Calabarzon, and then Visayas, and then Mindanao. This story will not end there, for we shall be having a lot of stopgap activities to galvanize and create a community of partners believing that only in the forging of one mind, one heart, and one soul can we truly achieve an elusive dream that has been there for so long a time, the dream of having quality education in the hearts and minds of the Filipino people. So at this point, we shall be having some impressions from our participants. So I will be asking the help of Jan Peran, our dynamic member of the Secretariat, to help facilitate the names of those who will be sharing with us during this moment. Jan, who will be our first sharer?
Sir, our first sharer is Dr. Marilyn Cano.
Okay, Dr. Marilyn Cano is a member of our core AAIG team. Madam Marilyn, please.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Dean Henry Tenadero. I want to share my insights regarding the proceedings this morning. And I want to start by congratulating all the speakers because of a very forward look to the transformative education. I'd like to begin with our first speaker, Dr. Bose, who focused education, transformative education, to preparing students and graduates for the future. So it's not preparing them for the now alone, but for the future, because the future can be different as time goes by. And for us to be able to do so, we had to keep an eye, a very watchful eye on the challenges. And I think that's a very important insight shared by Dr. Bose. Dr. Vincent, on the other hand, shared with us the vital role of TESDA, which is not very much emphasized in the past, but right now has taken a limelight in the field of education. This is very important also in transforming our insights on education. Our third speaker, Dr. Lucrecia Mir, shared something that I was really so impressed about, and that is the role of taxation. And far from it, we did not know as much probably about the role of taxation in implementing transformative education. So thank you for that, Dr. Mir, because we know now what the role of taxation, and we want to have a strong campaign on taxation compliance. after which we were able to get also a very insightful talk on Dr. Membrere, who also put emphasis on collaborative entrepreneurship. Again, this was not emphasized in the past. And as Filipinos, we were not born to be entrepreneurs, or we did not even think we can be entrepreneurs. And with this insight that has been presented by Dr. Membrere, I think we are transforming education because we are directing our graduates not to be mere employees, but we can be good entrepreneurs. We have the guts for it, we have the know-how for it, and it's a matter of sharing the know-hows. On the other hand, very impressive achievements on the former mayor, Dr. Menchi de Guzman, a fellow Tomasian. We congratulate you for the numerous achievements that you have done for your province. And we know that that will be a shining light to the community, that is going to be a shining light to all of us here in the field of education. We want more of you, and we want to have more of your insights in the future. The achievements were solid. No? The engagement is very appropriate. And also, you have really given the best version of yourselves. And that challenges all of us also to be able to share the best version of ourselves. I thank all the speakers for the inspiration that you have provided, and all the inspiration of that will not only stay on our lips, but it will be in our hearts every day as we breathe and breathe our day-to-day activities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Marilyn Cano. First, thank you for listening attentively and giving your wonderful impressions about the whole thing. Because come to think about it, ang ating pagtitipon mamaya ay magiging kabahagi na lamang ng inyong calendar date. Lumipas ang tanong, ano mangyayari ngayon? Patuloy ba natin tatalakayin, pag-uusapan ang paghahanap sa matagal nating inaasam quality education? Sa bagong pamunuan, sa bagong landas sa ating tatahakin, the challenge will continue. That's why we are having this caravan. To listen to all our stakeholders into believing that the heart of education is really in the education of the human heart. And as our speakers have individually and eventually collectively shared their programs and activities, we have seen that we need public servants who exude in their DNA the word quality education. So yan po ang ating unang impression na binigay ni Dr. Marilyn Cano. Jan, who's our next sharer?
Sir, our next sharer is Mr. Emmanuel Estrada from Globe Telecom.
Okay, Manny Estrada, Engineer Manny Estrada is from Globe. He was part of our very first in 2019, and he has never left us. A Globe executive, finding ways on how the industry can put to heart the very essence of AAIG in the hearts and minds of our corporate leaders. Manny, welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much also for this opportunity to be here with you today. It's really true that when I first attended the UST AAIG, what struck me was how important this is moving forward. In 2019, when we started this, hindi pa natin nakikita yung pandemya. We didn't know that the pandemic will happen. So we're pretty much looking at this in 2019. with something in the future in mind. And it's very laudable. And as I can see from this morning session, talaga naman very impressive and very important itong mga ginagawa nating caravan. Here are some of the salient points that I picked up from this morning's session. From the opening remarks of the president of DMMMSU, it's quite clear that the new global technology economy requires strong partnerships between academe and industry. Kami sa ICT industry, ramdam namin to eh. And as early as 2016, we started to evolve from a telco to a digital services provider. However, there is something that is fairly important every time we interview candidates for employment or even for our cadetship program, and that there is a need to transform academe to tackle the challenges, go beyond tradition so that it can be relevant and respond to the needs of the industry and in turn, the emerging global economy. There is a need to future-proof our educational systems for continued sustainability and relevance. And hence, by bringing together academe, alumni, industry, and government, we should be able to find relevant ways to do this. But beyond finding relevant and fulfilling jobs, it is more important to transform academe to develop and prepare its graduates to be effective and relevant contributors to our nation's economic recovery, continue development, and enhance our competitiveness in the emerging global economies. Sabi nga ni Mr. Buhain ng Bex Education, para sa bata, para sa mamamayan, para sa bayan. If you expand this and think about the global community, then we can even say edukasyon na tama at angkop para sa bata, para sa mamamayan, para sa bayan, para sa mundo. From Dr. Bose, the importance of future-proofing our educational systems is fairly obvious. In what they call as the new normal, we call it the new reality. Kasi hindi na ito yung normal. Ito yung talagang ngayon na new reality. The new realities have resulted in the rapid adoption of digital services and solutions that drive the global digital economy. Talk about AI, the metaverse, digitalization of services, and even government. All of this now made previous curriculums near obsolete, and there's a need to transform this at a rapid pace. Yung dating progreso natin in changing curriculum has to be sped up even more because of these rapid developments in the adoption of the digital economy. I am particularly impressed with the presentation of Dr. Sipra of TESDA in the new normal. At the start of the pandemic, we have always seen how people have said, paano na tayo ngayon? How can we be able to cope? Paano ang pag-aaral ng mga anak natin? But the presentation of Dr. Sipra clearly showed how it is possible to continue critical training programs by a simple, practical, and innovative approach to flexible learning delivery by maximizing resource and time schedule management and leveraging on available LMS. This shows a firm resolve and commitment of the role of TESDA in developing critical technical competencies and skills needed for our country's journey to the new global economy. So rather than lay there and say, paano na tayo? Sila, ginawa nila ng paraan, diniskartehan nila to para tumuloy ang edukasyon at pag-deliver ng technical competencies na alam naman namin na hindi natin pwedeng puro online. Kailangan merong hands-on, napaka-importante. So how do they do it with limited capabilities and resources? Simple, practical approaches that are well thought of and well executed. This presentation simply showed that if there is a will, there is a way, no matter the circumstances. Our SMEs have been always a critical driver of economic recovery and economic growth. Very enlightening is the fact that 99% or more of registered businesses are MSMEs, generating 62.6% of our country's total employment, and hence important to recognize and support the roles. In Globe, we have programs targeting MSMEs. And we believe that we can work together with the DTI to drive the 7 programs, the 7 M's program: mindset change, mastery, mentoring, money, machine, not just having the right tools, but knowing how to use the tools properly, market access, and models of negotiation. In hindsight, when we look at the start of the pandemic, I believe that this 99.5%, the almost million registered businesses and MSMEs are actually more because there are still online businesses that have started to do work and to flourish during the time of the lockdown. But these online businesses are now becoming fast the norm of the future. Again, in hindsight, sometime in 2017, we sat down internally with some of the network planning engineers and the strategic planners of the industry, including Globe. There was one interesting topic which we discussed, which is the future of shopping. So we were developing forums and programs, solutions for that, but the pandemic hastened all of that. And most of the transactions today and shopping today is done half on-premise, half, maybe even more than half, online. And in the future, we see more and more businesses going on. Dr. mentioned this man. I'm pretty much impressed really by how you have presented a holistic approach to community sustainable development, encompassing all the important ingredients of culture, public health and safety, disaster recovery and resilience, tourism, sports, arts, agricultural development, notable of which is the Rice Resiliency Program. This is a particular model that I believe can be shared and emulated by other local government entities, so that they too will be able to cope with the circumstances that are present today, with the pandemic continuing, with climate change affecting practically every aspect of life that we have. And again, you made a very interesting point and very important one, to be the best versions of ourselves despite the odds and circumstances. And we put that together. If there's a will, there's a way. Then I think we have the right formula for success in the future. Finally, what's also important to note in all of this discussion is that learning should never stop. It should evolve continuously so that we become respondent and relevant to the future. Sabi nga nila, mahirap sa simula, but everyone needs to step up. The UST-AAIG has started to do this, and I believe that we should continue doing this not just as UST-AAIG, but as a total community and ecosystem of people who want to really contribute to the sustainable economic recovery and development of our nation. Thank you. Back to you, Henry.
Thank you very much, Engineer Manny, for your insightful ideas that you continue to share with us sa AAIG brand. So as we said earlier, AAIG started 3 years ago. Nagsimula sa isang pangarap na maging makabuluhan ng ating Alumni Association. But true to what Manny said, na we are aiming for inclusivity. This is not going to be an event alone of UST, but an event of the Filipino people, for the Filipino people, with the desire to really impact the lives, especially of the marginalized Filipino people. Kaya yung mga ating 335 participants, we respect your silence. But there is loudness in your silence if you, in your own individual ways, can put to practice the principles of AAIG. Later on, we'll summarize in keywords ano ba talaga ang esensya, ang purpose of being ng AAIG. Bakit patuloy natin siyang gawin at dapat natin patuloy na gawin sa ating lipunan. John, who is our next sharer?
Sir, our next sharer is Attorney Julie Montes Binaldo Velasco.
Okay. Thank you, Attorney June. Please come in.
Attorney.
Yes. So, good morning po. Good morning to everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Okay. So, it has been a privilege for us to join this caravan and to represent the school where we belong, and a privilege also to be an alumni of them. So that's why we were able to join this caravan. Okay, as an insight, we are very thankful to all the speakers for this morning for sharing to us their good practices and the new policies that we have for the meantime on how we are going to respond to this COVID-19 or this pandemic. Being a government employee of Benguet State University who is in touch to the farmers, it is really in time, and we are really grateful that we were able to hear kung ano po yung these collaborative efforts of the different schools convening this caravan on how to respond to the needs of our clients. So for us who is very in touch with the farmers, one of the problems really that we are trying to manage also is to is to respond the prices kung saan po nalulugi po yung mga farmers dito sa amin due to the fact that there are some imported vegetables that are being imported vegetables na yun po yung parang nagiging kalaban po ng aming pong mga farmers dito sa Benguet. So while we are in academe, we are trying also to help them while we have our local government officials, our government, the different government agencies who are, for example, the DA po. We are in partnership with DA right now, who is giving a fund naman po, fund for the baptisy where we are managing right now. Still we are trying to manage kung paano ba natin on how we could stop this price management ng ating mga middlemen, kung saan kung pwede po sana is directly talaga na for farmers to the consumers, but this is still a dilemma on the part of the government, on how we are going to respond to this one. So actually, having all the speakers this morning, we are hoping for to strengthen a collaboration with them, a partnership, so that we could also tap them on how to help yung pong the current situation in our province po, just like we said, yung paano i-respond yung price ng ating pong mga farmers na hindi din po nalulugi yung kanila pong yung mga goods and commodities. And also when it comes to DTI, on how also to really promote the OTOP or the one-stop product, where in fact we have been, I think the local government has been already having this kind of program ever since, but this was not been truly or 100% carried upon. Now, kung pwede po siguro, itap po si DTI para po magkaroon through the academe, through ng Benguet, or for us, na kung paano natin i-orient yung ating pong mga local government officials on to really establish this promoting our local goods. Kasi nga po, having this crisis already that happening now, yung pagkakaroon po natin ng what we call yung kulang-kulang na po talaga yung production ng ating vegetables. I think one of the solution that we see here is to really patronize the local products natin. I think so far po that would be our short insight. So we are really hoping that we will be having a good communication with yung ating pong mga speaker. Si Dr. Mir was my professor when I was a student in DIMSO. Dr. Manuel was also my professor. I'm very thankful to hear from them, this kind of their lecture this morning. Thank you so much po sa convenor in all the lahat po ng come up po for this caravan.
Okay, thank you very much, Attorney Julie. Alam mo, pag ang advokasya ay nagkakaisa at maganda ang pag-iingay, hindi demagoguery, yung sinasabi niyong pricing, madali yan eh. Lalabas na magandang pricing. Pero kailangan muna clear. Parang yung speakers natin kanina, kung mawariin natin, iba't ibang iisang kanta ang kanilang inawit. Pero iba't ibang tono. Pero kagandahan doon, sa iba't ibang tono, nagkaroon ng harmony. Kaya naging matagumpay ang ating paglalakbay dito sa Region 1 at Cordillera Admin Region. Na malapit sa akin puso, personally, on a more personal note, ako po'y, ang tatay ko'y Ilocano. Ako po'y nag-aral sa St. Louis University Boys High School. Pagkatapos ko ma-kick out sa Manila, doon ako tinapon ng aking ninang, si Dean Amparo Rimas ng St. Louis para tapusin na aking 3rd and 4th year. So doon ko nakita kahalagan ng edukasyon. Hindi ko inakala magiging educator ako sa buhay ko ngayon. Pero palagi kong naalala, alam na mga Rose Bowl owners yan, mga boys high yan. Si Attorney Dwight, boys high din yan. May nakapaskel na malaking karatula, character makes a man. Na dati-rati tinatawanan lamang namin. Pero sa kalaunan ng aming buhay, nakita natin na ang kahalagahan ng isang karakter, hindi lang ng tao, kundi ng inong ginagawa. Because at the end of the day, who we are is what we do. So, in the interest of time, we promised a while back that we will be gathering your questions that will be given to our respective speakers for them. And even as a AAIG team, we will be monitoring them. John, what do we have now?
Sir, last but not the least, si Director Maria Lucrecia Mir.
Okay, please. Dr. Mir, please come in.
Hello, good morning.
Hello,
to everyone.
Yeah, good morning, yes.
I would like to share my learning insight and how to cascade the 2022 AAIG proceedings. Okay.
Yes, please.
This is my first time to participate in a forum like this. Truth is, as a researcher, I actually downloaded all the videos pertaining to AAIG 2019, 2021, and the 2022 NCR Caravan to get a feel of how this Region 1 and CAR segment would look like. In other words, belatedly, it was as if I also participated in the previous AAIG caravans. As a receiver, that is, as a listener to the other speakers, it occurred to me that the Senate and the House of Representatives, as the writers of law, could go down further to the people in order to craft more meaningful pieces of legislation. We all know that theory is different from practice. And as a giver, that is, as I shared what we do at the Senate Tax Study and Research Office, I am thankful for this opportunity to tell you that at the Senate, We have 24 different independent minds backed up by professionals such as lawyers, accountants, economists, statisticians who scrutinize each proposal so that what comes out of the Senate's legislative meal is something that a regular Filipino could benefit from. But we all know that since legislation is a matter of compromise and subject to the President's approval or veto, the final outputs of enacted proposals sometimes don't meet the taste of our fellow men. More so when the implementing agencies of these laws fail to implement the said laws under them, people have the wrong impression and blame Congress. I therefore thank UST for cascading the AAIG to North Luzon and for topping my beloved Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University and its open university system as the local convener. And as to how to cascade the 2020 AAIG, the Senate of the Philippines engages in various collaboration activities with other government agencies, private groups, business companies, academe, people's organizations, diplomatic community, and others. The objective of this network is to enhance relations between the Senate and the said entities by providing a forum for effective and continuous dialogue to broaden the people's participation in the legislative process. You are all aware of the legislative process that involves seeking out the views of stakeholders through public hearings. We always go live via YouTube with or without the COVID-19 scare. We also have hundreds of college interns from various majors of colleges and universities who are distributed in the Senate's many legislative and administration departments. My last intern was UST AB Legal Management cum laude, Patricia Ann Ligaspi, whom we involve in our taxation research. We have several types of forums, such as the Annual Tax Forum, wherein I am directly involved, the Forum on Federalism, the Forum on Legislation, which has a global participation. In other words, the Senate has a similar AAIG networking, but honestly, UST is more high-tech. We could further strengthen this with a direct, take note, direct Senate UST collaboration. And as my sharing, during this present 19th Congress, there are several initiatives that touch on the other speakers' presentation. For MSMEs, we have 7 bills. Some of these seek to reduce the tax and the cost of compliance for our micro, small, and medium enterprises. One of these is proposal to amend the Magna Carta for MSMEs. And for labor, there are 10 bills pending in the different committees. Some of these institutionalized alternative work arrangements and the wage theft prevention. And as for education, there are 18 bills, some of which expand the coverage of the tertiary education subsidy, the basic education teachers' salary increase, and the Technical Education Training and Certification Act of 2022. And I think these bills on the education sector would answer the question on transformative education. And as for Dean Amparo Rimas, she was my dean at the College of Accountancy when I was a student at St. Louis University from 1981 to 1985. She was the most loved dean of the College of Commerce. And finally, everybody in this caravan may monitor the development of these bills on MSMEs, labor, education, and other initiatives through the website of the Senate of the Philippines. Again, I would like to thank my director, Dr. Christy Guerra, and the UST family for having me as participant to the AAIG North Luzon Caravan. God bless us.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mir. I will tell my aunt about you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, as we end our caravan covering Northern Luzon, let me just give you the 6 essence of AAIG. AAIG is about transforming change. It is about catalyzing strategic and sustained partnerships among the 4: academe, alumni, industry, and government. AAIG is about building appropriate skills and competencies in line with the new education, highlighting individual differences and multiple intelligences. AAIG is nurturing the new roles of alumni to go beyond the proverbial social fellowship fundraising, but an association espousing for societal change. AAIG is about coming together and responding together to that cause. So we will take your word on that, Dr. Mir, a Senate AAIG collaboration. And finally, AAIG is advancing and progressive, inclusive growth for all Filipinos. So with that, we put to an end our impressions part and bring you back Dr. Manilin Kakanindin for the next part of our program.
Sir Henry, we also have questions in the chat box. Would it be okay if we answer like 2 of them? Is that
please.
okay? Yeah.
Please,
Thank you, sir.
please.
Yeah. May I read one of the questions? This question is coming from Sir Aloysius Aurelio. His question is, I think this is for Sir Danilo Bose. Are there any policies that SHED will be implementing regarding instruction delivery for the coming academic year, considering new normal education? So I think we'll be transforming again to limited face-to-face. So would there be implementing policies? I hope.
Ayan.
Good morning.
Yes, Engineer Angie, yes.
Yes, sir. I am representing Dr. Danilo Bose, our OIC Regional Director. Kailangan niyang pumunta sa Pangasinan to attend the graduation ceremony. So, sasagot po sa tanong ni Dr. Aloy, initially we have CMO4 series of 2020. This is the guidelines in the implementation of flexible learning. And then recently, mainit-init pa ito, it's CMO6 series of 2020. It's entitled Sustaining Flexible Learning in Higher Education, an addendum to CMO number 4 series of 2020. We are coming up with a public orientation on this one on August 8, 2020. That would be on Monday. It would be in Region 3, but we would be having have it via Zoom. So all of our stakeholders from our higher education institutions would be able to witness this said orientation. It would also be can be seen also via Facebook Live. So we will be sending out the details to our higher education institutions. Now, itong new, just a few details on CMO 6, that is HEIs are requested to determine and implement the appropriate teaching and learning approach. This is based on the existing community alert level per current IATF guidelines. And then, of course, our HEI should also consider their capacity of retrofitting their facilities and other teaching learning resources. So, kailangan din po nilang mag-exercise ng due diligence in determining the percentage of students that can be accommodated and allowed to attend the face-to-face classes in case they would go for face-to-face classes. Now, as of our survey for Region 1, there are several higher education institutions who have already expressed their intention to conduct face-to-face classes. Full face-to-face classes, we have 17 higher education institutions. And then meron ding mag-opted to go full online, 4 for HEIs. And then the rest, majority, 17 HEIs, have expressed their intentions to conduct limited face-to-face classes. So yun po yung updates from the CHED Regional Office.
Hey, thank you so much for Engineer Angie. And Dean Henry, I think na-answer na rin yung ibang questions sa ating Q&A chat box. Ang sipag pong sumagot ni Dr. Vince Cifra. Yan. Again, thank you, Engineer Angie. And for the other questions that will not be answered, the AAIG will be answering them via their emails na po. Yan. So again, thank you so much, Dean Henry, for moderating a bountiful and insightful sharing of perspectives this morning. And okay, so now we go to the next part of our webinar. We now go to the sharing or the awarding of certificates to our speakers. To show our deep appreciation of our guest speakers, the University of Santo Tomas Alumni Association, in partnership with the UST Graduate School Center for Continuing Professional Education and Development, and Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, we would like to award these certificates of appreciation to the speakers for having generously shared their expertise and experiences in the AAIG 2022 Region 1 and Car Caravan, given this 5th of August 2022 at Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, La Union, Philippines. Signed by Dr. Jaime I. Manuel Jr., Associate Professor Jocelyn F. Agkawili, Dean Henry S. Tenedero, and Professor Evelyn Songco. To our first speaker, Dr. Danilo B. Bose, OIC Director 4 of CHED Region 1. To our second speaker, Dr. Vincent Aljon Cifra, Regional Director of TESDA Region 1. To Dr. Maria Lucrecia R. Mir, DMMMSU Alumni and Director 3 of Taxes Branch, Tax Study and Research Office, Senate of the Philippines. To our fourth speaker, Director Merly D. Membrere, the Provincial Director of DTI La Union. Finally, to Dr. Menchi L. de Guzman, a former mayor of Bawang La Union and a practicing physician. We give our heartfelt appreciation to all of you, our dear guest speakers. And now, for the commitment to the manifestation of solidarity, may I invite to the virtual floor Dr. Evelyn A. Songco, the President of the UST Alumni Association.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kakanindin, and good afternoon, good morning to everyone. Good morning. Today, I guess, is a really wonderful day because we were able to bring together through the efforts of DMMMSU, particularly the universities, TESDA, the government, and industry. And from this gathering, we really hope that we will be able to discover in the near or far future models of partnership between the government, particularly the Senate and the DTI, and the local government and the colleges and universities. We really hope that, as Dean Henry said, this is not going to be an activity of the UST-AAI, nor an activity of DMMMSU or of UST. It's going to be an activity of everybody, because we hope that we will all be able to pursue a community of practice where we will promote always the conversation among the four sectors: the academe, the alumni, the industry, and government. And therefore, we really look forward to our partnership with the Senate. And I would like to say thank you, in particular, to Dr. Lucrecia Mir for giving us that hope. Definitely, I would like to thank Don Mariano Marcos State University as our host for Region 1 and CAR. And definitely, thank you so much to Rex, our sponsor for this particular Caravan 2022. Rex from the industry has given us all the opportunities so that we can go from region to region. And definitely, I'd like to thank our amazing speakers who gave us a lot of great insights. And of course, the convener. Thank you so much, Dr. Joanne Rivera, who was assisted by Dr. Christy Guerra and Dr. Claudia Barbadillo. Thank you so much to all of you. And really, I hope that this is going to give birth to more partnerships and to more collaborations. And therefore, with that hope, I would like to invite everybody to please be with us, in solidarity with us, and let us all together say our commitment to bring about conversations, solidarity among us all, so that our fresh graduates will transfer from the academe to the world of work with great ease. Okay? So this is our manifestation of solidarity. I invite you all to say this with me. At least those of you who are convinced that indeed together we will be able to do something. Okay? So let us now start. Together, we, the participants of the 2022 Academe, Alumni, Industry, and Government, AAIG Caravan, held on August 5, 2022 via Zoom, hereby declare and manifest in solidarity with one another our commitment to the following statements. Whereas we are cognizant of the multiple challenges that fresh graduates experience as they search for rewarding careers and employment or entrepreneurship in today's world of work. Whereas we recognize the important roles that the academe, alumni, industry, and government play in national development and the unique contribution of each of them in creating favorable environments and innovative pathways that enable fresh alumni in transitioning successfully for their pursuit of academic qualifications in their meaningful practice of a profession or a vocation. Whereas we value the need for open communications, continuing engagements, and joint collaborations among the academe, industry, and government in forging collective and alumni-centric initiatives aimed at propelling the fresh alumni toward optimized personal, professional, and economic well-being and development. And whereas we believe that the empowered alumni is a critical contributor to the nation's social capital formation and an indispensable force toward the realization of the envisioned inclusive and sustainable development of the Philippines today and well into the future. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the 2022 AAIG Caravan participants of Region 1 and CAR affirm that the 2022 AAIG Caravan shall serve as a historical milestone that sets into motion the sustainable regular staging of a national and international AAIG summit every other year. Endorse that the UST Alumni Association Incorporated and the UST Graduate School Center for Continuing Professional Education shall continue to spearhead the AAIG summits with support from friends and other like-minded individuals and groups. Commit to support continuing conversations, collaborations, and initiatives with significant academe, alumni, industry, and government partners being undertaken at various levels: regional, provincial, city, municipal, or institutional, to create synergies, achieve successes, and drum up widening awareness and interest leading up to the staging of the subsequent AAIG summits. Manifested this 5th day of August, 2022. All the best for every one of us. Maraming salamat po. Mabuhay tayong lahat.
Thank you so much, Dr. Evelyn. Okay. And for our closing remarks, before we go to the closing remarks, I would like to say that this has been, in my personal experience, a very rich, productive, insightful, and inspirational conversation and webinar. And to form this event, I would like to Caravan Series and Director under the UST Graduate School, Center for Continuing Professional Education and Development, Professor Jocelyn Agkawili, for the closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kakanindin. And I'd like to say good day, everyone. So as we are about to end today's webinar, which is actually the second in our AAIG Caravan 2022 series, I am happy and thankful that you have once again joined us in this continuing endeavor and advocacy of the UST Alumni Association and the UST Graduate School Center for Continuing Professional Education and Development for academe, alumni, industry, and government collaboration for educational transformation, or AAIG as we fondly call it. Today's program has been made more meaningful because it is in collaboration with one of our champions, part of our growing community of partners in AAIG, our host for today, the Don Mariano Marcos State University in La Union, and to show our deep appreciation for the time, the effort, and the resources that they have willingly shared, we would like to present this very simple certificate of appreciation. Okay, so may we show the certificate? Okay, so I would like to read the University of Santo Tomas, UST Alumni Association Incorporated, in partnership with the Graduate School Center for Continuing Professional Education and Development, presents this certificate of appreciation to the Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, particularly the Open University System, as the local convener for the AAIG 2022 Region 1 and Caravan, given this 5th day of August at the Don Mariano Memorial State University, La Union, Philippines, signed by myself as CCPED Director, Dean Henry Tenedero, Chairman of the UST Alumni Association Incorporated, and Professor Evelyn Songko, President of the UST Alumni Association Incorporated. So thank you very much and congratulations to the DMMMSU AAIG team. It was a pleasure working with you on this one, and hopefully we will have more upcoming collaborations. And so today, we once again have looked into the myriad concerns affecting our students and young alumni as they transition to the world of work in the VUCA environment of the new normal that we are in. I hope that through our continual and persistent efforts, we are able to strengthen, solidify, and make real the enormous possibilities of alliances that foster continuous conversations and innovative pathways for strategic and sustained partnerships among the academe, alumni, industry, and government sectors for inclusive growth and success to allow us to enable the attainment of the fullest realization of the dreams and potentials of the graduating students, particularly now that we are in these very challenging times. So let us all as a collective express the clarion call to have education-driven leaders in our midst to be one with us in making our nation a true education nation. Let us continue to build robust education ecosystems and communities of practice where spirited and dynamic conversations flourish, ensuring fast incubation and birth of more pathways towards inclusive success. Let us continue to break down walls of ignorance, myth, and complacency, and build bridges of new ways of thinking, doing, and being. Let us fully embrace and rise equal to the challenges and the opportunities of the global village, and together face the VUCA environment by being visionary, dynamic, creative, liberating, and above all, transformative. And to keep the fire of our enthusiasm for AAIG advocacy and to further build our community of practice, we invite you all to join us once again on September 16 for the third in our series of caravans. This time, our champion and collaborator will be Faith Colleges for the Region 4 Calabarzon Caravan. Again, that will be on September 16, which will be held, of course, at the same time, 9 a.m., and with the same Zoom platform that will be again provided by our very generous sponsor, Rex Education. And do please keep your calendars open for the next caravans, which will be held in Visayas, to be hosted by Silliman University, which will be on September 30. And finally, for this year, on October 16, our caravan will be in Mindanao to be jointly hosted by the Davao del Norte State College and the Western Mindanao State University. So once again, in behalf of the UST Alumni Association, AAIG team, and the UST-GS CCPED, we thank you for your participation in today's caravan, and we hope for your sustained support and collaboration in our future endeavors for the transformation of the educational landscape in our country, so that united, we can bridge the gap between the academe and industry for the benefit of our students, our young alumni, and consequently, for our entire nation. Magandang tanghali at mabuhay tayong lahat.
Thank you so much, Professor Jocelyn. Before we end the webinar, I would like to encourage all our participants to fill out the evaluation form. The links are already provided in the chat box, and the certificates will be provided after the submission of the completed evaluation form. If you still have questions, please send an email to aaigssummit2021@gmail.com. And to view the recordings of today's webinar, the Facebook pages or the addresses of the Facebook pages are already in the chat box. UST-AAI, UST-GS-CCPED. And the next caravan will be in the Region 4A or the Calabarzon Caravan to be held on September 16, 2022 at 9 a.m. hosted by Faith Colleges. I would like you to encourage everyone to attend the next webinar and invite your colleagues to register. Thanks again to our guest speakers. If you would like more information about their presentation and biography, you can access our website, which will also be posted in the chat box. And thank you to all our sponsors for this caravan. Our main sponsor is Rex Education, together with Rose Bowl Steakhouse and Restaurant, 595 MacArthur Highway, Pagdalan Sur, Bawang, La Union, Arcus Balay Home, Decor and Gift situated at Shop Number 20, CKC Arcade Building, Quezon Avenue, Sevilla, San Fernando City, La Union, and Tomasinong La Union Alumni Association. To conclude this webinar, please give your attention to DMMMSU hymn. We will also request the panelists to stay after the DMMMSU hymn for the photo op. And on behalf of DMMMSU, the UST Alumni Association, and the UST Graduate School Center for Continuing Professional Education and Development, and our guest speakers, thank you for joining us today. We hope that you have learned from and enjoyed today's presentation. Have a great day, everyone.